Hello. Hi. Whoa, my lights are falling. Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing out there? Welcome to the Quest Show. I am your host, Alana Quest, and this is my lovely co-host.
Honored and honored as always to be here. You got some good stuff for us, don't you?
We do have some good stuff. We have good stuff every single week. Let's just say that before we get into all of the good stuff. Are you
Oh, you got news, but go ahead. Oh, I'm getting ahead of you. Go ahead.
Do we have news? Well, we have some subscribers. I want to say, hey, new subscriber. Thank you for subscribing, Patrick Glanville. Thank you so much. And we do have a little bit of news before we ask you to like, share, and subscribe, because we want you to subscribe for a reason and hit that notification bell. We are having just a small time change starting next week. The show will be on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. And what is that? 7 p.m. What's the other time? Central.
Yes, Central. It's 8 Eastern, 7 Central,
and 5 Pacific.
7 Mountain, 5 Pacific. But it's not a little change, girl. It's new date and time.
Yay. That is, I guess it is.
No one can claim that they're sleepy. It's right there at 8 o'clock.
All right.
You don't have to miss Rachel anymore, because I know that you all have been foregoing Rachel on a Wednesday to watch us. We are excited.
So were we.
Right?
we were missing Rachel. So Rachel, we're coming back to you. So guys, please make note of the time change next week. Yes. Next week, Thursday,
and
8 p.m.
As Lana was saying, if you hit that subscribe and notification button, even if you forget, it will remind you.
You forget, you are going to be reminded. Isn't that nice? Like, come on. So you got anything before we start?
Just an honorable mention before we get into the main gist of things. Rafik, the guy that was on trial for being a part of the 1-6 insurrection, was found guilty on all 5 counts that he was charged with. And forgive me, I am normally the stickler for facts, but I don't know all of his charges.
But come on, give me that chance, because I messed it up next. I messed up last week. Let me redeem myself.
Let my partner, she's got me. She's got me.
Yes, you asked last week and I had no idea. This week I was like, she ain't gonna get me again. Transporting a firearm, first charge. Second charge, obstructing of official proceeding, which was the signing of the whatever those things are called. Third charge, entering a restricted area. Fourth charge, obstructing officers during a civil discourse. They're trying to fix things going on and they're trying to beat them up. And the last one, hindering communication through force and threats. That was when he was threatening his family members, threatening to kill them.
What kind of person?
Well, you gotta ask that.
One that's going to jail for participating in an insurrection.
Exactly.
Good for you. Good for you.
Hey, do better. But they won't. He was happy. His wife did a press conference.
Maybe he can start a Christian ministry in the jail, in the prison. Turn his life around, be deprogrammed and all that good stuff. I mean, you never give up on a person. I mean, and may his wife and children have great karma, great lives. Go on, go. Go with peace.
Go
he did a great service. He did a great service. I'm so serious, right? Like, really seriously, that is what people need to do. We need for you, your community members, your family members, your neighbors, your neighbor know that you kept them up all night long because you was out there shooting 500 rounds with your AR-15. Like, tell on these people. Crazy.
No, it is true. And then the wife was so upset, talking about, you guys are just making an example out of him so everyone else takes a plea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice kid.
Yeah.
Go on. Have peace. Be deprogrammed. All of that good stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Trump
That's
lost.
it.
I don't know what else to tell you.
And he was impeached twice. Take
And
that to
impeached
the
twice,
bank.
right? There you go.
Exactly.
There you
Oh
go.
man. So let's get into some news. First, let's talk about Brittney Griner. So I guess we can do news and sports, kind of. So if you
Because
haven't
DA would
heard,
be so disappointed if we didn't.
never here for our sports segment.
But this is
What's going on?
legitimate news at this point.
Oh,
This is,
there's no
yes.
sound. Someone said no sound.
No
Brian
sound?
said no sound. Can you hear us, Brian? Can you guys hear us? Can anyone hear us? Or are we talking to ourselves?
Oh no.
I think, can you guys hear us? I know they're behind, but they must hear us. Brian said no sound. Maybe that was just his thing. I'm
Well,
assuming that.
is DA responding to me? He's a damn criminal.
Okay,
Hey guys, let us
there's
know.
sound. I just turned my phone up. I can hear.
Okay. All right.
Here. So let's go. Yeah, let's get to Brittney Griner.
Right.
Let's talk Brittney.
This story is particularly harrowing, right?
Mhm.
So Brittney, right, is a WNBA basketball player, star here, and turns out she's a star in Russia too, right?
Mhm.
She is a member of the UMMC Ekaterinburg. I gave you the English pronunciation, not the Russian.
Exactly.
A basketball team over there. And on the off season, she travels over there and plays with them. In fact, in 2021, was it 2021? She won them a championship.
Yes, she did.
So
yes, she did.
As she was deplaning, right? I'm right. As she was deplaning
From New York.
they from New York to Russia, the dogs sniffed her bags and they arrested her for her hash vape.
Right.
I don't even understand how the dog smelled the vapes. And I know we're supposed to get the whole story out, but I did just,
no, go ahead.
How is that? Because they're sealed. That's the whole thing about vapes, whether it be hash or just the ones that had the nicotine, like you didn't smell all of that.
Right. It's almost like they were looking for something.
Mm-hmm.
They were looking for something. I smell a setup. Like it's just so the timing of it all,
especially since she had been traveling over there since 2015.
Exactly.
So this makes her 7th year going to Russia. They very well knew who she was.
And they absolutely did, because she's over there winning them championships. They celebrating that woman, and all of a sudden now it's very, it's timely and it's unfortunate this time, because how do you even do diplomacy? How do you even try to negotiate her return while they're at war with Ukraine?
Right. We'll give you this if it's just very difficult. It's very difficult. But we do have to hope and believe that there is some sort of negotiations or diplomacy going on, because there's been very little said about it in the news. And her family, has been on social media and such, making everyone aware that she has been detained, but are not offering up any other details. And I just really think that's a smart thing to do at this point.
They did say that Biden has met with the Black Caucus.
Yes, he did.
So that is a good thing. So they are working together. So,
and
I know people say a lot of things like, well, why is she over there anyway? So, a lot of the women basketball players play off season internationally for the international teams abroad, because the salaries here absolutely suck. So they get paid more money when they go abroad. So that's what they're doing. They're trying to make up some salary. So that's why she was traveling abroad, and that's why she does it, to make up more money. So that means that we really need to, there's a couple of things that need to happen. I know we're going veering off, but
that goes back into the pay equity.
Yeah, pay these women. Then she doesn't have to go abroad to be in travel.
In Russia, no less.
Russia, no less. Russia, no less. And that also kind of tells us that she's been there for a little while. if she's been there prior to the war, because no way she would have went during a war.
Right, exactly.
Being waged. So she's been there for quite a while. We just didn't know anything about it. So hopefully they can get Brittney Griner home soon. Praying that she's safe, because Russia is no joke, but I guess it could be North Korea.
Well, and then the other thing is, even if she was over there free at this point, their economy is horrible. It has crumbled. So it's no place to even be if, if you're Russian. Russians are even evacuating, but that's a story for another day.
That's later on today. Russians don't even want to be there. And what is she eating? Because there is no McDonald's. So
yeah.
Wow. What else is happening in the news? Well, I'm going to laugh a lot through this one. I apologize ahead of time because it is not funny. It's just more ridiculous. So on Monday night, the Senate passed legislation to make lynching a federal hate crime. After 200 attempts, after 100 years, lynching is now a federal hate crime. Woo! I'm so great. Like, what?
Is that just not crazy? I know so of course we pitch stories, and when she told me about this, I was kind of waiting for her to say more, other than
right.
Because of course that was, already federally a hate crime, but the bill does include, it was named after Emmett Till, was it the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act? It does actually include acts such as the guy that went, and Dylan Roof, and I don't even know, because I typically don't remember these terrorist names, that shot up that church of Black people after they welcomed him and had Bible study, prayed with him, and some of these other things that have happened as far as Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd. Right. So absolutely, it's long overdue.
It's long overdue. And just in case someone's out there that really doesn't understand why this was a big deal. So lynching is a long-standing, uniquely a white American weapon of choice for racial terror, and they've used it for decades and decades to terrorize Black people. So things that are falling under it, just like Anna just said, anything that is inflicting terror racially on Black people because of hate. So it becomes a hate crime. And that's why it didn't pass before, because Rand Paul was like, well, if you do this crime, then that may be considered a hate crime under this act. But it's like, but it's a crime, dude. Like, why are we? Wow. I don't even know if he actually voted for this, but it did pass the Senate. I didn't look. I think there was like 3 people who did not vote. I don't think that this was a sweep of all of them voted for this.
But it should have been. And
absolutely.
when we say long overdue, if you just look at who it's named after, Emmett Till, how long ago was he lynched?
Right.
Since then, there have been so many others, and we have, modern day people, unfortunately, Ahmaud Arbery. But remember James Byrd, the guy in Texas, and was that the 80s or the 90s that was dragged to his death?
And tied him to the truck and just drove around town. Yeah, that's lynching.
So that type of thing as well. So that's good news. We finally have some protection.
But do we? it doesn't stop them from doing the crime. It just says, hey, it's a hate crime. Like, it's still a crime. Like, you're still going to jail. Like, when I read it's punishable to up to 30 years in prison. Like, isn't that what it should be?
I think, here's the thing. If you take someone else's life, then you should get life in prison.
Like 30 years is like, was that parole?
And if you're intentionally taking someone's life because you hate them, that should be an automatic life in prison.
Correct.
So, every law isn't imperfect, but we have to keep on striving to change it. They routinely put us in jail for robbery, things that don't result in death.
Right.
Drug
Right.
offenses, no less.
Absolutely. And you're serving what, 30 years for that? 20 years? Non-violent drug offenses.
Non-violent drug
And
offenses.
Obama got a lot of people out of prison for that.
Mhm.
Those non-violent drug offenses. They were just like crack, life, crack, life. Like,
Yeah.
unbelievable. So that did happen. So like Anna said, I guess it's a good thing. Like, I don't even know how do we celebrate something like that after you waited 104 years for it to happen? His mama just died. It would have been nice if she was alive.
That would have been right. That would
For
have
this
been
to
to see this
pass.
happen.
Right. Right. So, all right. So I know everyone is waiting for us to give Ukraine updates. If you haven't seen any updates, there are a lot of, are we on Ukraine updates?
We are. And there's a couple of things going on. One, they're still at war. Latest news today is that Russia bombed a maternity and children's hospital. I don't know of any casualties that have been reported over that, but just simply horrendous. I mean, there's just really nothing else that you can say about that. Doesn't Google Maps cover the world? I might be wrong. I only use it for the United States, but
oh no, you're right. I've never done that.
So even I could, like, if it covers the world, even I could Google Map and see that right there's a hospital, right? Mm-hmm. Restaurants, hotel, hospital. They give you hospitals, right? Because they're emergency centers. Yeah. So
yeah, they said that they're using this special type of weapon. I'm gonna say weapon because I don't know if it's a bomb or whatever. That's not as accurate. So it's almost like, those bullets that like spread out, right? So whatever that weapon is, that's what it does. So even if it's over here, it's gonna hit things that are all in that vicinity. And
but here's the thing about
that's on purpose.
Right?
That's still
because you're in a residential area.
It's still by design, right?
You're in a residential area, right? The hospital wasn't in the middle of nowhere. Like that was just beyond that.
It's beyond the pale, right? It's absolutely beyond the pale.
That's exactly what it is, beyond the pale, just beyond the pale.
Right.
So
13,000 arrests of Russian protesters. So those Russians are protesting. They really are.
I keep saying, how many men are there? What is the male population in Russia? They can't all be soldiers and they can't all be policemen. Like at some point, 13,000 and counting. Keep going, Russia. Keep going. Yeah. You should not have to put up and live under the conditions of a madman. You just shouldn't. You just shouldn't. I think inside pressure from Russia, along with the outside pressure, I shouldn't say I think because I'm no expert, but something's got to give. Something's got to give.
Something is going to give, and it's pretty scary. Yeah. so I'm just like, it's just, man, like I'm trying not to talk about what we're going to talk about later because it's all like together, but it's just, let's just go. Let's go with the companies. Yeah, let's talk
that
about
is
all,
the news, right? So I do not believe that it was expected that these acts of sanctions and diplomacy was going to result in private sector taking part in it to the degree that they have, right? Shell is selling their investment in Russia. BP has pulled out. The latest is Starbucks, McDonald's, and
Exxon. Ford,
yeah, you know what? See,
Boeing,
I can't get my Starbucks.
Boeing. Yeah, you know what's interesting?
Pepsi also, and they had been there for over 60 years, I think it is. So that's a really long time for people to enjoy the sweet taste of Pepsi.
The interesting thing is, I think it's Starbucks and McDonald's, or Starbucks or McDonald's are still going. Both. No, they're both, but they're still going to pay wages.
Yeah, the employees, right. Right. And then you know what? And now that you say that, I want to say it's Pepsi that is going to continue the manufacture. I think it was infant formula, and a couple of other things also to just Well, because that needs to be produced, and also to keep people employed. So you know what? It's thoughtful. It's social responsibility, corporate
Right.
responsibility,
Right.
in a way that we haven't really seen before.
Right. Right. Netflix they had Netflix? I didn't even know Russia had. I mean, were they watching all of the movies, or did
I'm
Putin
sure not.
control which ones that they could watch? Like, that's just Netflix?
Well,
That's just,
actually, though, you have to remember,
how do you,
like all the Marvel movies and those
right.
blockbusters are shown globally. So I wonder if Russia would be a part of that economy. Seems
Hmm.
like they would be. They have
Right.
Starbucks and McDonald's.
Right. 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 Hey, Infinite.
Yeah.
Infinite.
So
Yeah, so that is a lot. Ford, Boeing, who knows what they're gonna fly? There's a lot going on. But as
mhm.
Anna said, the war is still going on. Um, of course, Ukraine has been asking for that no-fly zone. I don't know if we spoke about this before. To date, Biden's administration has gotten 17,000 pieces of equipment through to Ukraine, but Ukraine does want those jets. So
Mhm.
like, if we're not going to do a no-fly zone, they're like, listen, give us the jets. But there was some information with that, right? With Poland came out. Uh,
Poland, without consulting the White
yes.
House, and very sweet gesture, I guess, came out and announced that they were willing to trade 17 Russian jets, Mings, I think they call them,
Yeah, MiG jets,
um,
MiG,
to
MiG.
to give to Ukraine, because Ukrainian pilots are able to
Right.
fly those. And in return, the US send 17 planes to Poland. And the US unfortunately had to kind of turn down the offer because
Like
they were
what?
like, they were going to deliver them to one of our air bases in Germany. And
Right.
they were like, it was like, getting them transported and the transfer, and Russia, Putin's talking about, if the planes are given, that's an act of war. And
Right. Right.
there's just a lot to that,
Right.
unfortunately.
And they were also saying that, I guess, part of the issue is that Russia has most of the airspace over Ukraine. So they're saying they
Oh.
cannot, it's a
Mm-hmm.
it's a suicide mission. They
Mm-hmm.
cannot do it. If you're going up, Russia is going to
Be
put
aggressive.
that plane down. So they
Yeah.
can't put that plane up. That's why America was so upset with Poland, because they're like, this can't happen. It has nothing to do with us not wanting to help. It just can't happen. It is a suicide mission. And I know Ukraine is going, well, we'll have one of our men fly. It's still
Right.
it's a suicide mission, and you're losing the jets. You don't have the jets.
Right.
um, I get it. Like, it's just a desperate situation, but
They're trying. I really do believe that globally, countries are working together for the most part. Like China has not said anything. India is a partner with them, with Russia, are
oh,
really trying to work together to
right.
get them to stop this insanity. It's just not sustainable. And I mean, and if you do conquer Kyiv, then what?
I
What
know.
next?
It's just an empty shell of a place, because there
It
won't be
is at
anyone
this
there.
point.
Right. Like, you just have a desolate,
That you've
bombed out.
shelled. It's not like you can
Right.
even have people come in, move in, or whatever.
Right. You would have to rebuild it. Like, it just makes zero sense. And that's why he's not going to stop. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I just think of Trump. Like, every time I think about Putin, I just think of Trump. Like, that's that same mindset. It just doesn't, he
Mm-hmm.
won't stop. He can't be weak. He can't fail. He is going to keep going until the end. So,
Exactly. And
uh,
while you know what, while we
okay.
are talking a lot
Mhm.
about Ukraine, the last thing that we did want to mention about that is the journalistic reporting that has been going on. We bash the media a little
Yeah,
bit
we do.
because
Yeah, we do.
they can be really superficial with their hot takes and things, but we have really seen some journalists
Yeah,
dodging,
yeah.
shells coming and things like that. standing literally, well, not literally, but very literally close to,
Yeah.
and not knowing if that particular area could be
Right.
bombed at any point. So I know we were talking, you mentioned that picture that has been circulating.
Lindsay Adario. If you guys didn't see that photo, it's a hard photo to see, but it is worth seeing because it just really, when we're here, we're so disconnected. Like we're connected through the TV, but we're disconnected. And we're connected through the TV because of the journalists, right? They're risking their lives so that we know what is happening over there. Unlike what's Russia, they have no idea what's going on. But our journalists are there. And she works for New York Times. So New York Times posted the picture, and the picture is of a family who was killed by one of those shellings during a ceasefire. I think it was like the second ceasefire.
They were evacuating.
Right.
They were evacuating people. Yeah.
Exactly. During the ceasefire, she watched a little girl in a puffer jacket. She described her running around playing because they're about to evacuate. And the Russians came and shelled the place, and the family ended up dying. The mom, I think it was two of her children, a little boy and a little girl, and I think a friend of the family. And it showed them, dead, and the suitcases just
untouched.
There.
It's so eerie. It's so eerie.
Right. Right. That the suitcases didn't fly anywhere. They're just standing there, and the family is dead. So, thank you to those journalists out there, and they're being targeted. So not only are they out there in the war zone, they are now being targeted by the Russians.
Well, did you notice that when the war first started, they all had press across their chest, I guess, as so not to be targeted, and how that has now turned into a target for them?
Right.
It's like it makes them,
even more, right? Because they're probably pissed that we're even getting the information. They can't even give
I think I've read a couple of news stations. I think CNN is one of them, has pulled out.
Yes.
Even as far as like our news stations, because it has just gotten to be too much. So they're probably reporting from, like we saw Ari from not Ari, Ali Velshi from MSNBC reporting from Hungary, reporting from the outskirts, because it is not safe for them. And it's an actual war. It's a war.
It's actual war. It's pretty insane. Yeah, but we need those uncensored photos. We need to know what's going on. Like it's the transparency of it all. And it's humanity. You have to feel a way. And then we have to understand why gas prices are going up, like why these things are happening, and why it's so important to pay attention, because like these things are so connected. If you don't, a lot of people don't know that why gas prices are going up, right? And it's not just America. Gas prices are going up everywhere. It's not just here. It's not an American. It's not Biden. So Biden's
here's the thing. We don't get the majority of our gas from Russia. We don't.
Right.
So while we are feeling, and on that front, Biden is cutting our imports from Russia. So that's going into effect as well. And it may cause us some issues. But you know what? We have a lot of us out here that actually, I saw a tweet on Twitter that went something like, people will complain about the price of gas, but then will nicely walk into the gas station and buy a bottle of water for $3.25. Like
that's a fact.
Are such an entitled, spoiled nation in that regard.
Or buy cigarettes. For how much do cigarettes cost?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know. I don't smoke, but I know in some places, exactly. We do like our Starbucks, we like our fast food, and I do understand that, some families are not able to do that, but there are a vast majority of us that, if we decide that we want to eat at McDonald's. I don't eat McDonald's. That's what we do. You know, if you're tired and you don't feel like cooking, you stop and you grab the kids a Happy Meal or Chick-fil-A or whatever it is. Those are luxuries. Those are luxuries. And you're driving in your car to be able to do that. Right.
Or I guess this is going to push us to some type of electric car, more electric stations. Like we can't be dependent on everyone for oil, I guess.
I watched a congressman say that this situation has shown us how important it is for us to drill even more here in America, so that we're not reliant on fossil fuels abroad. And it was like, no, this actually shows how we really do need to switch to electric vehicles and hybrids so that we're not dependent on petroleum, period. You know, we don't need to go drilling up all of America, you know, to do what we need to do. We just need to move forward to a greener America.
I want a greener America. I don't know if I want an electric vehicle. Like I keep thinking about that. I'm like, oh, do I want an electric vehicle? Do those things warm up enough in the cold? You know, when we get that real cold frost and you go outside, there's a whole sheet of ice on your car. When you start that electric vehicle up, is it going to? No.
I don't know. The Prius has been out for quite a while now.
So we gotta do some research on that to see how that works out. You know, I know if I was in Cali, I definitely would have one, like warmer climates. Yeah. Right. But yeah,
something to think about.
It really is. It really is, and more charging stations. That's what we need. What time is it? Look at that. It is time for quotes, and questions. If this is your first time here, please get in the chat. We're going to play quotes, and questions where we ask some questions or we read some quotes and you have to guess the quote or answer the question. So take a moment, jump in the chat, play the game. Let's have some fun. Let's see, what are we going to start with? Kevin, are you ready? Andrea, Walter, we got someone new in there. I don't see Michelle Porter. Infinite.
She's there. Voice. Come on.
Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Here we go. First one is a quote. You mean the circus clown posing as Florida's Surgeon General because DeSantis can't get anyone competent to work for him. Congrats on being on the wrong side of history, though. I'll pray for you. Black, male, former TV host. You mean the circus clown posing as Florida's Surgeon General because DeSantis can't get anyone competent to work for him? Congrats on being on the wrong side of history, though. Black, male, former TV host. Kevin said no, he wasn't ready. The Jetsons. Yeah. He called Florida Surgeon General circus clown on Twitter.
You see Mary's answer.
Arsenio Hall, Black. Oh my God! No, I mean, I guess that is a good. That is a good guess. He is about the same age too. Oh my God! Another hint. He's bald. He's bald. Black male, former TV host, and bald.
Steve Harvey.
Good guess. From back in the day, Black male, former TV host, bald, was in the military. I think Marines.
Name begin with the M?
Yes.
Okay, I got it.
Byron Allen, no. Okay. First name begins with an M, as Anna said. Last name W.
Yeah.
Yeah, good job.
Great.
It was Montel Williams. Crazy. Okay, next. Yeah, Montel Williams. for people who are listening. Terry Crews. No, Terry
Nope.
Crews.
What's next? What's next? Come
Who the hell
on.
is Montpelier Williams, girl? Who's Montel. Okay. All right, next. Tragically, people are dying because Biden's poor decision-making leading up to Putin declaring war on Ukraine. White, non-human, Congresswoman, Georgia. Tragically, people are dying because Biden's poor decision-making leading up to Putin declaring war on Ukraine. Yes, Williams, Michelle. Michelle came in late with that one. White, non-human, Congresswoman, Georgia.
Montpelier was funny. Montpelier Williams.
I'm like, where is Montpelier? Okay, we got
Montpelier speaking out.
We got MTG, MTG. Correct. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yes, Eminem
face. Yes.
Yes, that is her. Okay, next. Ooh, that is a long quote. Hold on. Will we play political games while real people suffer, or will we win righteous fights together? Will we play political games while real people suffer, or will we win righteous fights together? Black, male, pastor, senator.
Come on, people. Those are his words.
Will we play political games while real people suffer, or will we win righteous fights together? Oh, Walter is really late. The laser lady, yes. Dog the bounty hunter. Okay, are they still talking about Marjorie? Or maybe you're ahead of me. Maybe I'm late.
Infinite just gave it to us, but we'll give them a couple more seconds. They're cracking themselves up.
Tim Scott, Mary, come on, Tim Scott. Warnock. Yes.
We got 3. Infinite,
Yes.
Michelle, and Ghost.
Yes, Raphael Warnock. Okay, 2 more real quick.
Senator Raphael Warnock, and
yes,
he
that's right.
has an upcoming election. So get out there and support. Even if you don't live in Georgia, support with your tweets, support
That's
on
right.
Facebook, support with your funds,
That's
support,
right.
donate. He's going to need it.
He's going to need it. We cannot lose that seat.
Mhm.
They didn't do this on Trump's watch because Trump would have kicked their ass. White, male, senator. They didn't do this on, referring to Putin. They didn't do this on Trump's watch because Trump would have kicked their ass. White, male, ex-senator.
There's so many that could have made that stupid and ridiculous statement.
Okay, I'm gonna give it. I know when I give the next one, everyone's gonna know. I was trying to hold on to it. Okay, white male senator crossdresser. I think allegedly.
Also
Yeah.
initialed on appliances.
Yes, we got Graham is coming up. Okay. Cruz, not Holland.
But not nearly as useful as anyone who owns an LG appliance. Not nearly. Not nearly as entertaining.
Not nearly. Whoever needs a slap from Graham. Yes, Graham. All right, last quote. Lindsay, it is physically impossible to kick someone's ass when you're constantly kissing it.
Ooh, and that was the clap back.
That's the clap back. I'll read it one more time and then I'll give you the hint. Lindsay, it is physically impossible to kick someone's ass when you're constantly kissing it. but I digress. Hashtag, but I digress is what he put. Black male chairperson of the DNC.
All right.
Lady Lindsay. Yes, that's the answer to the
I
last
couldn't have said
question.
you
was
said
Lindsay.
ex-senator. Did you say ex-senator?
Did I say
Oh, wow.
ex-senator?
You know what? That was wishful thinking. We're going to put it out there in the air.
I thought I said white male senator and cross-dresser, but I could have said ex-senator. I don't know. So if I did, I apologize.
Well, yeah. Again, some things you got to say out loud in order to make them happen.
I mean, I could have, because the quote above it says white male ex-senator train, because it was for Joe Biden, but.
Was it Auntie Maxine?
Black male DNC chairperson.
Oh, that's right. We do know who it is. That's a good guess, though, Michelle.
It really is, because that is something that she would really say. Oh my goodness, you're absolutely right. Ghost said the same thing. Waters and Hakeem. Black male chairperson of the DNC.
Kevin
guys
got it. Kevin, yay!
Good
Let's
job.
see if anybody else pulls it up. Come on, y'all. Y'all can copy off of Kevin now. It's like once the answer is up there, you're like,
right. I know, like, darn it. Yeah, it's like you can't look, but you do look.
Yeah.
Yes, James Harrison.
Jamie. It's Jamie.
Is it Jamie? Is it Jamie? Oh, Jamie. Okay. Jamie Harrison. I love that quote. Yes, nice, Kev. Kev did good. Kev is getting these past couple of games. Kev's been on point. Thanks for playing quotes and questions.
Yes.
That was awesome. I love that game. It's like my favorite. So before we start to wrap up a little bit, we just wanted to touch on, I guess, the trauma that kids are feeling. And like the other part of Ukraine, I know we talk about Ukraine a lot, but we never really talk about the children of Ukraine and the emotional toll that is taking on these kids, and like the impact that's going to have on them 5, 10, 15 years from now. Like they're literally being displaced. Not only are they being displaced, they're being separated from their
fathers.
Yeah, from their
grandparents, brothers, uncles,
right?
Generations, because wasn't it from 18 to 60?
Yes.
So families, there's the potential for children to lose generations of males in their family.
Right.
You know, we've talked about the impact of the pandemic having on the kids here being out of school, which has really meant they've just been at home with their family or with their parents, right? These kids are literally being separated. These kids are skipping happily outside, waiting to get on the bus and then being killed the next minute.
Right.
And
kids
and that
seeing
is just,
it, and other kids seeing it. Dead bodies.
So that is, yeah, we really do need to think about that. America has been trying to make mental health more of a focus, but we really do need to think about that on a global scale. They were suffering with COVID issues over there before the war. So, you know, you have these kids that are being displaced, they're fleeing their homes. People were walking to borders and things like that. The one city that had been cut off from heat, water, and everything for 4 days and counting. How do you explain that to your children when they are used to, just think of any American child in the suburbs. Ukraine is not some
backwoods place.
Uninhabited. Yeah.
Ukraine was thriving. They had arts. They had coffee shops, pizza shops, like just a normal place. Wow. Did you hear about that little boy who traveled the 600 miles alone?
No.
His mother had to take care of her sick mom, because we don't even think about that part, right? There are people who cannot leave. There's bombings around them, and their parents are incapacitated or can't move or walk or do that journey. She had to stay. So she wrote a phone number on his hand of family members and put him on a train alone, 600 miles. He made it to his family, like he got reunited with his family, but he had his passport and that phone number.
Wow.
How desperate.
So she doesn't know if she's going to see her son again.
She probably doesn't even, right? How does she even know if he made it?
Well, hopefully. Right. Because you don't know. I was going to say, well, hopefully the family member will contact her, but we don't know the condition of their electricity or cellular service or anything like that.
She sent him, she got afraid because she lived next to that power plant that was on fire, that the Russians were shooting at. So that's what made her say, he's got to go now. So it just, the sacrifices that these mothers are having to make. Do I leave my husband with my children? Do I stay here with my husband? What do I send my kids? Because you've had women
make that decision as well.
Right.
There are women that have stayed behind to fight.
Right. So it's just, it's a tough one. And we do have to think about these children. And you know what? Shout out to these train conductors and drivers, because we keep hearing them on the train or the next train, or the trains are crowded. Who's driving these trains? Exactly.
At great peril.
Great peril. Back and forth all day, all night long. Trains and buses. That is pretty amazing.
I have felt from the beginning that this war was really going to show the world what unity really looks like.
Right.
We are so divided here.
Right.
I would hope that we would be able to bond together against the common enemy. I hope we never have to find out. But at any rate, we know what that looks like. Those Ukrainian people, like you said, have done the best that they could for their kids. They are fighting Russia with everything that they have. But the trauma will be there for the parents and for the kids. And I think humanitarily we'll be providing aid, hopefully for a while. Hopefully for a while.
And like you just said about the humanity and unity, I don't know if we agreed to talk about this, but just very quickly,
go ahead.
The man from Africa, how we all know that it came out that the Africans and the Indians and just the people of color that were going to school, the students in Ukraine were experiencing racism, trying to leave Ukraine, trying to board the buses, trying to board the trains, where a man from, I don't know what part of Africa, but from Africa, got all the way to Poland, finally turned around because he felt bad about leaving his friends, the other African students. So he turned all the way back around, went back to Ukraine again, like you said, risking peril to himself, went back to help his friends, and ended up staying in Ukraine and helping the very people who he was experiencing racism from, helping them get into bunkers, driving them to the borders, trying to raise money so they can eat. So that is what humanity is, because humanity doesn't have a color. It
doesn't.
Just have to have a heart, just have to care. So, that's the lesson.
You have to see yourself and everybody else.
Right. Exactly. And I try to do that all the time, like we talked about earlier. Like, imagine your neighborhood just on fire. Like, just go outside right now and think about it being bombed. That's
right. It's just unimaginable. We
take stuff for granted.
He's crazy.
He is. I don't even know what I would put in a suitcase. What do I even put in a suitcase to go somewhere in a split second? I would not even know what to put in there.
Right.
My kids would be like,
because you don't even know what's going to be.
They'd be like, where's
worth
the food?
Anything.
I'd be in there putting underwear in there because you need clean underwear. And they'd be like, where's the water? But you got
Oh, and
clean
we know
underwear.
you. The other half would be filled with avocados for your avocado toast.
Exactly, girl. What? Oh my goodness. Do you have anything else to say or announce before we talk about our Black history?
We do have an announcement, don't we? So you guys know that we are all about interviewing and hosting candidates on a local, state, and national level, so that you all can know what their platforms are about, know what they are trying to institute for the people here, for people, for everyday Americans that, need help, that want childcare, that want clean water, that want decent housing, that want to be able to vote. And so we have brought a variety of candidates on, and we're going to be bringing you more. Yes. So we are happy to announce we have scheduled Joe. Have we scheduled Joe? I think we have. Let me see. Oh, let me check my calendar. So upcoming on March 17th, right? We have, give me a moment. Oh shoot, I don't have it on this phone. Look at me trying to make surprise announcements.
Well, he's coming. 31st.
Actually,
31st.
he and she. Yes.
March 31st.
Marsha Williams, representing or running for Illinois 17th District. Will be on March 17th. And we are pleased to announce that Joe Jaworski, who is running for Attorney General of Texas.
Yes.
Will be on March 31st. So we are pleased that he's going to be on. This will be our first Attorney General interview. And as we have seen, especially in the state of Minnesota, how important states' attorney generals are. They can make the difference between a family receiving justice for their family member being killed by a policeman for 9 long minutes. They can deny justice by seeking to convene a special grand jury in the case of Breonna Taylor. The state's attorney general is an office we really need to be paying attention to. So we hope you all really tune in for all of our shows, but especially our interviews, because we need to be informed. We need to be informed as we head to the polls this year.
Absolutely. We better be heading to those polls too.
For every office.
Yeah.
Every office. Make sure your dog catcher actually likes animals.
It's true. Even the dog catcher, every office. So thank you, Honor. So we're going to end it on a Black history fact. We're going to talk about Polly Murray, sorry. She was born in 1910 in Baltimore. Shout out to Baltimore, Polly Murray. Yes. She lived one of the most remarkable lives of the 20th century. She was a woman that identified as a man. Born in 1910. Like every time I read that, it's just pretty amazing. Like she did what she did. He was the first Black person to earn a JSD, Doctor of Science of Law, degree from Yale Law School. The first. She's the founder of the National Organization for Women and the first Black person perceived as a woman to be ordained as an Episcopal priest.
Wow.
This woman she's sick. Polly Murray's legal arguments and interpretation of the U.S. Constitution were winning strategies for public school desegregation, women's rights in the workplace, and an extension of rights to the LGBTQ plus community. Polly Murray crafted a broad vision of justice, equity, and human rights using words as her primary tool in the fight for liberation. Their vision for a justice and equitable world is a beacon of hope during troubled times, she said. Thurgood Marshall called her writings the Bible of Brown v. Board of Education.
Wow.
Yeah, so she was widely respected in the legal community back then. I mean, if you got Thurgood Marshall saying that about you,
And she
oh, yeah.
worked on Brown versus the Board of Education. I
Yeah.
mean, that is just one of the most influential Supreme Court cases
Right,
of our lifetime.
right. And a woman, well, who identified as a man, worked on
Born in
that.
1910. Like,
Right.
do you know what type of ferocity that you had to have in order to boldly just declare that you're going to be, and a Black woman trying to do that?
Right, right, right. In that age.
I mean, in
Breaking
2022,
right.
Unfortunately,
You can't even say gay.
There you go. I don't, we can end it on that. Just like really seriously, in 2022, you can't even say gay.
Yeah.
So
salute Paulie Murray. If you haven't seen the documentary, check it out.
mm-hmm.
Everyone be safe out there. I know these masks mandates have been lifted everywhere. So be safe out there, guys. Thank you for coming. Thank you, chat. You guys are great. We will see you next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 7 p.m.
Subscribe.
Go on.
Notification. No, I'm just saying. No, go ahead.
I was going to get it all the time. Oh, right. In the Netherlands. Mary, you're out there in the Netherlands. So that will probably be 2 a.m. for you. And as Anna said, notifications. So you'll see when we're on. So thank you, everyone.
And one other thing. Time springs forward this weekend. Set your clocks, because that is not going to be an excuse to miss us.
Bye, guys. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.